Okay, we're live. We're live today. This is gonna be hard because on the phone I got to stand very narrow like that. And welcome to How to Build Your Own Home. As questions start to come in, please identify where you are. Your region really helps out answering questions. It gives me climate zone, which is really big when it comes to construction. It also helps me understand soils, nature of land, whether you're in an area where that's wooded. For example, if you're in Arkansas and you're on the eastern side of Arkansas, eastern side of Tennessee, all that, and even a lot of places in Missouri and whatnot, it's just wooded area. If you're in Colorado, it could be, depending upon your elevation, it's just grassland. And if you're out west where we are, it's dirt, and a lot of dust and dirt. So it kind of helps me identify where you are, and my brain just dials in. If you're in Texas, oh my goodness, Mississippi, Florida, all that, totally different perspective on building. Just way different. So if you can give me some identifications as to where you are, that would be great. A couple of things to note: if you're just here for the very first time, we do a live chat every Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. And you can go to howtobuildyourownhome.com and you can contact the instructor and leave some messages. I had 2 or 3 earlier this week, but they needed the information quick, so I responded back to those in an email fashion. It gets real busy, so hopefully I can get to the questions that come. But if you do have a question that you can't be at live chat, just go to howtobuildyourownhome.com, contact the instructor, and you can leave that message there. I will get it. I'll print it up on my printer right here, and I will get to those first thing. And that way you won't have to wait till the very end. Just wait. Don't you hate those podcasts? We were talking about that earlier where, oh, just stay tuned and you're going to get the answer you want at the very end of the podcast. No, we will get to those pretty quick at the first of the hour. That way you can get your answers done pretty quickly.
Yeah, the sooner the better. You don't want to be at the end because sometimes we don't get to the very end.
Yeah, it's we enjoy this. We enjoy reaching out to people, and we do have a Patreon.
No,
Discord. I get Patreon and Discord all
That's
confused.
only for self-managed.
And it's for those that are in the self-managed course. A lot of good interactivity there, and I'm just so pleased to see the pictures that students are sending. Owner builders take on some really interesting stuff. I have seen builders, just regular builders, not do anything spectacular most of their career. They just, cookie cutter stuff over and over again. It's just kind of their bread and butter. But I see owner builders tackle things far more challenging than I see even a lot of builders tackle, and it's interesting. Hopefully we can. I want to try to get to an opportunity where, like, once a month, we have an owner builder video or even a builder video who's just showcasing really unique things out there. There's a lot of channels out there, but they're really specialists or high-end luxury stuff, very techie type of channels that are out there. But I think owner builders are the first to tackle new ideas. I rarely see builders tackle a new idea. Owner builders will tend to tackle that first because it's innovative, they're cool, they like it. And that's where this channel is really focused on, is to really augment and explore the real power of owner building and why it's so effective out there. Sometimes it's not effective because a lot of owner builders go about it the wrong way. We'll have a video on that next week talking about the backwards approach, which is not really we should call it the backwards approach. Don't do it backwards. That'd be fun. So let's get some questions going here real quick and have some fun here. My wife's got that all under control.
I had a question. Oh, in the comment section, will you? Can we share that?
Yep. I'm sorry.
Thanks. In the comment section, let me know how much money you've already saved as an owner builder.
Yeah.
We're curious.
That would be great.
Okay, here is the first question by Honey Capina.
Is an older home in good shape and new home that are the same size, located and etc. the same taxable value?
No.
No. And I'll let my wife answer that as to why.
I just know here locally in Southern Utah, new builds are always taxed higher because it's newer. They're
Yeah.
newer. The older homes, they might still be at the lower tax value. Here we've got second homes and first primary homes. And the primary, if it's your primary home or it's a rental and you proved that it has a lease on it, you can have the primary tax rate. We have two different tax rate. It's like 0.6 if it's a primary and 1% if it's a second home. And you're automatically taxed as the 1%. You have to prove that it's a primary or a full-time rental. And the county does go through and reassess it, but they don't, the older homes, they don't reassess at a higher rate.
And when you do pull your permit out, there's going to be a line item in the permit that's going to ask, what's the valuation of the build? If your total budget is $650,000, don't put that. I don't know of any builder who does. Puts half that amount, because they don't police that. And I'm not saying be dishonest. I'm just saying you don't need to pay any more taxes than you need to. So I usually put, if it's like a $1.6 million build, I'll put $700,000. I'm trying to keep those taxes low. If all of us put in that actual number, it would jack up the taxes for everybody. And that's not necessarily what we need to do. It's the county's job to assess the value, not yours.
And here locally, like we personally were assessed a higher amount and we had an appraisal done. I was able to take that appraisal, take it to the county and prove that we should have lower taxes because the county was assessing us for a lot more.
Right. So anyway, we could talk forever on that one, but keep in mind you're dealing with the county. Even though you submit a permit with the city, you're assessing the value of that on that permit that gets recorded with the county. So be very cautious about that.
And Utah's a non-disclosure state. So if you're building, it's going to see if you have a loan on there. So that's another thing. But if you get a loan that's 1.6 million or something, and you only end up spending $1 million right there, you don't want to say assess it at 1.6 million.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Again, it's not your job to assess the value of your property.
But if you're getting insurance, you want to make sure you're covered.
Yeah.
I would do the 1.6 if it's insurance, because you never know what's going to happen and you have to rebuild or whatever.
Well, that can be all assessed with the insurance, with the contract you have, with the budget you have, and with the bank and all that. But when it comes to the county, it's different. So anyway, let's take another question here. Okay, Leanne, C19. Have you ever used Evolve Stone for any builds? It's the faux stone that you can put up with the finished nails. Yes, it's foam, I think, if you're right. It's also foam. I had a client, a student, who tried it and ended up pulling it all off and putting real stone on there. It's not going to handle up against high wind. With just a finished nail, that's very worrisome. Anything on the exterior that you're going to apply with a finished nail, I'd stay clear of that. If anyone knows, a finished nail is like a pin. It's just like a pin. A pin you're poking somebody with. That's a finished nail. So there's not much head support on it, and I wouldn't recommend it at all. I know people do it, but everyone I've seen do it wasn't satisfied with it. So good question. Could you please briefly go through the sequence after sheetrock, painting, tiling, floors, doors, cabinets, and trim? Yeah, that's a really, really good question. I've battled with this. Even my daughter and I go back and forth on this. She likes to do painting last. I like to get painting done as soon as drywall's done, and I'll tell you why. I love to have as many contractors on the job as I can. That's just me. I love being able to have them talk and work with each other. When painters are there, that's the only person you can have. They dominate the scene. So let's say, for example, you have flooring in and cabinets and all that, and you're going to have the painter come in. Well, the problem is that once cabinets are in, you can have them templated. You can have electrical there. You can even have some of your plumber there. You can get things done, even if you're owner doing it yourself. But once that painter's there, they kick everyone out because nobody can smell the fumes. Nobody can deal with that. So I love it right after drywall to have them do my primer. And if I do a 3-tone paint, I'll have them do the ceiling, caulk the ceiling, do the walls, get all that done. And then they come back and do the base and case and shelving, all that later. But that way, the neat thing is when you put the cabinets up, you don't have to tape off anything. Everything's all been painted and it's all done. To me, it's a headache to put cabinets in and then paint afterwards because they have to tape off all that cabinetry work. And I just don't like that because I've seen too much overspray. It's not taped off right. And I worked with another builder many, many years ago up in a high-end resort community in the ski area. And he just was all about, no, get the cabinets in. Why? Because he wanted his cabinets in first, mainly because he can template. Templating takes about 2 to 3 weeks in the machine shop to manufacture those high-end countertops. So he pushed that and puts the harder complexity on the painter to tape everything off. To him, it was a scheduling thing. To me, it was unnecessary labor that you're imposing on somebody. It's just, I don't like doing that to painters. It's a real nightmare. So as soon as I get drywall up, I get the painters in there, I get them done, and then boom. And you can have your cabinet guy just make sure that he double checks his measurements once the drywall's in, checks his measurements, and he can be ready to install the boxes at any time. And that's a one-day thing, okay? It's only a one-day thing. It's not going to hold off counters, and it's not going to be a headache. Just keep in mind, there's builder mentality that is strictly driven by time schedule. We got to get this thing on the market in 3 to 6 months, no questions asked, versus owner builder, typically 8 months. So take your time and do it so it's ease of access, ease of flow.
So what, you have painting and then what? There's
so right after drywall, painting, I like painting. And then you can deal with the flooring. Then you do your floors, your doors after the flooring. If you're doing a glue down floor or a tile floor or anything like that, you want to put your doors after because that tile and that subfloor, whatever it might be, gets put on and glued down. But if it's a floating floor, you can't do that. You have to do the floating floor after the doors get installed, which means you're going to see all kinds of 1/4-inch cracks everywhere. That's just the way it is with floating floors, which is why I don't like them. You can't put counters on them. They slow down everything, and there's so much cut waste. It's crazy.
And then there's always controversy: flooring before cabinets or cabinets before flooring.
Yeah, if it's a glue down floor or a tile floor, you can put that down, and then you can put your cabinets. But if it's not, and it's a floating floor, you have to put that kicker plate. It has to be a thicker kicker plate. It's just kind of a headache. I love getting my floor all down and then it's all done, and then they can put the cabinets right on top of it. So it's all about the quality and the type of floor you put down. So
okay,
glue down is the only way to go. Honey, what do you know about rubber roofing tiles made in Canada? I have not seen how long they last. Typically, when it's a new product like that, you want to give it a 10-year scenario, see how it holds up to UV light, that kind of thing. I think it'd be cool for electrical storms, but I haven't seen anything else other than that.
I have to look that up. I haven't even heard of it.
Rubber does not handle UV light over a period of time. If you ever look at RV trailers, they have these covers on tires because it's going to sit outside in the sun for a long period of time. They don't want that tire to get cracked and destroyed because it's not getting any use on the road. So I don't know how they can protect against the UV light and if they can or not. So I don't know. Good question.
Hey, C. Manning.
And got my building permit. Awesome. Excavator comes next week. I have to install a lift station. Where and when to install? Are Are you talking about a sump pump lift station, or are you talking about something else?
Lift station. First
So-
thing that came to my mind was in the garage, a lift station.
Yeah, I don't know what they're talking about. If it's a lift station for a sump pump, meaning you got an excavation, you got a permit, and
Oh,
the
lift
house is going to be
station pump?
below the grade or below the grade of the sewer. And if that's the case, that's a lift station. I don't know.
What popped up? Lift station pumps. Yeah.
Okay,
wait
lift
for-
station pump. Yeah,
I don't know.
talk to your plumber, okay? Because that could be an excavator thing they do or the plumber. And here's where it crosses the line. If it's inside the home and that's lift station is inside the envelope of the home, that's typically your plumber. If it's outside the home, that's pretty much the domain of the excavator. However, the inside plumber can come outside and do anything outside as well. But a lot of excavators, they can do plumbing to whatever needs to be done on the outside of a home. I did a lift station a long time ago, about 10 years ago, and it was after the fact. The clients did not want it inside the home because if the power goes out, that thing is non-functional. So that's the big caveat. So we put it on the outside of the home, put a nice kind of a lid on it, and made it look attractive and buried it in some bushes and stuff like that.
I had
But
a listing.
it was a grinder station, and I don't know if it's a pump lift or a grinder station. So typically you've got a 3-inch sewer line like that. Well, a lift station and a grinder pump, because there's no natural flow, forces it into almost a 1-inch diameter pipe, and it grinds all the waste and sends it on its way and pumps it until it has natural drop. So it's more than likely a grinder pump. So find out from your excavator, talk to your plumber, find out where it should be put, but I would not recommend putting it down below. I've had too many people have problems with that. It stinks and has a lot of maintenance. And if power goes out, you can't use it. It's toast.
And it could flood your house. I
And it
had a
could-
listing it actually went bad
Yeah.
and then flooded the basement. And
Same with water softeners. Both of those are power dependent. So when and what happens to water softeners? They automatically flush out every night. And so when the power is going off, and if that power goes off during that cycle, that means the water is going to stay on indefinitely. It's going to flood your basement. I've seen it happen over and over again. So those types of things you don't want to put into a basement. You want to try to find a better place where if there's power goes off, you don't have a problem. Okay.
we want to do a shout out to Kai. Glad you're here. Can't wait to see more pictures.
Okay, Heck 37. Hi guys, I'm building over a crawl space and I'm concerned about groundwater on the property. What questions should I be asking my foundation contractor before excavation begins? You can drain it from within or you can drain it from without. But if that groundwater is coming up and it's very, very shallow, if it's very, very shallow, then I don't know if it's 2 feet down or 3 feet down. I don't know where that water is coming from. Your excavator and your geotech report should give you clarity on that. Once you get clarity, then you can ask them which is the best way to drain away from the home. Now, if you have a lot of rain, then you don't want that rain coming against the foundation. So you want to drain water away from the home. Keep it away from the home, especially if you have high groundwater like you're talking about. But I've seen people put in French drains, which is basically a perforated pipe in gravel, and if water fills up, it's going to drain away from the home. The other trick is lifting your home. Give it an extra 6 inches, a foot, or 2 feet, or whatever of soil. If you have affordable soil or natural soils, the geotech allows you to grab, could be road base or what have you. And then the other thing is that the more you can build on a gravel bed, road base, a nice compactable substrate that's got little particulates of sand and some gravel in it that compacts well, but it also has some nice porous space so that water can drain away from the home. Again, your geotech report, if you've got one, Your geologist should give you a lot of info on that. And same thing with your excavator. They should really know how to keep the water away from the home.
Brady's in the house. Hey,
Okay,
Brady.
hello, everyone. Happy Thursday.
Okay, here's another one. I'm not a professional framer. What should I personally be looking for every day during framing?
If you're in the course at How to Build Your Own Home, and if you have not gotten that course, I would strongly get it. There's about 4 or 5 checklists with video instruction, and you print those and you have them on a clipboard, and it tells you what to look for. It's too many things to list now, but if you're in the course, download them. When framing comes, you can come on a job site and you will sound intelligent and you will know what to look for. But I can't even list them all right now. Go through that checklist and you should be right on top of it. Okay.
And I'll give that again. Okay, Kai.
Okay. As a GC, what are some of the most challenging client scenarios you've encountered that tested your patience to the limit? What strategies did you use to resolve them? Really, really, really good question. The most challenging is when a client stands around on the job site and starts talking to the subcontractors. That's the most challenging. It gets to be really bad when they have an RV on the site and they're there 24/7 and you're not. And they become those types of people are very hypersensitive. And I had a guy that wanted to hire me and he told me he was going to put his RV on the job site. And I said, I'm sorry, I can't sign the contract. I can't approve that. And he says, come on. I go, no, I'm not going to go there. The other problem is when they actually hire. I had a client years ago. I put the electric panel, buried it inside Omniblock. It was nice and pretty. The only thing that was showing was the meter itself with a little access to the shutoff. And it was I did it all perfectly per code, the way the city wanted. She didn't like that, hired another electrician, ripped it out, rerouted a 3-inch line to the backyard behind the garage, which was not per code. And she did that. And then the city made her pull it out and put it in an ugly, because the Omni block had been all done. They had to attach it to the block and it looked really, really ugly. And when owner builders make these unilateral decisions, I had to fire her. I had to leave.
She kept doing that.
I'm sorry, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I have language in my contract that allows me to do that. And so owner builders want you there just for the headache of the foundation. They want you for 7-way. They want you to all the heavy lifting stuff. Once the heavy lifting stuff's done, they want to get rid of you. And you can read the writing on the wall, and you need to get out of that as quick as you can. Other headaches I could tell you about.
Yeah, and I think some people that are building a home, they have a different idea of what construction work really is. We had one client that was very, very, very clean. Like, we have a clean job site, but every night we're going there with bleach to clean the garage because it was dust. And we kept telling them, like, it's gonna get dirty. Like, it's just the framing. There's drywall and a bunch of stuff, and that was hard.
It's kind of like when you go to a restaurant, you tell a waiter to pick something up and they come back, and you tell them to get something else and they come back and you tell them to get something else. There's no consideration for your time. And I had a client that was impatient and hired another roofing company to install a roof on the roof. And the guy didn't know how to do it right. And everything leaked down that chimney, totally destroyed. They wanted to come after me. I go, no, the minute you took responsibility for something, you removed my liability, which is great for me. They just removed it. So I was not liable for all the damage that occurred. So again, there are a lot of just inexperienced people out there that to make decisions because they think they're the owner builder, they think they're the contractor, or they're the client, but they put themselves. I had a client, he was a landscape guy, and he didn't like the fact that I was the contractor. He wanted that feeling. And he did everything he could to undermine me. He didn't have the skill sets to do it, so he was afraid. But the minute he saw that it was easy for me, he says, I can do this. And there's an attitude there. And so he would upstage me and to do all kinds of things to subvert me. It's a real pride issue, and you don't need to go about building a home like that. So I've run into a few, and it can be a headache.
We could probably be here for a long time with all the fun stories. Same with real estate. Oh, yeah. There, so many variables. You think something's going to look the same. It doesn't. There's too many variables in life and building that you just have to be able to be flexible and work with people.
Yeah.
Be flexible. Okay, here we go.
My architectural plans were designed outside my state, and I'm having a local structural engineer seal them. What would you expect the engineer to verify before construction begins? He doesn't need to verify anything unless he needs to send something back to the architect and said, hey, the span here is not right, or whatever it might be. We need to adjust that span so I can properly engineer it. If he needs to do anything, more than likely he doesn't need to do anything. He should be able to go right off the plans and do the engineering, and that's going to be a separate set of plans. Structural engineered plans are separate from architectural. The structural plans are what excavators, concrete foundation, framing crews, that's what they use to build. Once your framing is done and the windows are in, the doors are in, it moves from the structural to the architectural, because the architectural has the electrical plans on it, and that's what the electrician will go off of. So he shouldn't have anything to change at all.
What about the land? If he got it, say, online or something, they're out of state, did he have the topographical type map, like how your land is?
Well, a good structural engineer is going to ask for your geotech report, and that's going to tell them how to plan for the foundation and all that. That's why I say don't build a home without a structural geotech report, because they will tell you how you need to ameliorate the soil, what it needs. For example, the geotech report could tell the structural engineer that he should have a 24-inch or 32-inch spread footing, or it should be 12 inches thick, not 10 inches thick. The soils report's going to help the structural engineer. For example, if you went to build a high rise in New York City without a geologist with a 150-foot core sample, you wouldn't even try to do that. They would tell you what you need to do to the foundation underneath, rebar, whatever, how big your spread footings need to be in order to handle that kind of a weight. So I know people build in parts of Texas, Florida, and other places in the country that is very, non-policed action. And then they build and then they have problems down the road. So make sure you have your geotech and the structural engineer. They should be talking to each other.
Right.
Okay.
The Ma Pearl.
What is the best bidet toilet for seniors? I don't know.
I don't know either. That's a good question.
I don't know. I know it should be at least 18 to 19 inches high. Some toilets are really, really low. And some of the easy access where you don't have to crouch down so low, I think they're around the 19 to 19 and a half inches high. And then a soft closed lid, stuff like that. And then make sure that you have power. And so this is something a lot of people don't realize, that they will select a toilet that requires power after the electrical plans have already been established. And look, I ran into that recently. My clients, sweet people, two of the toilets were like this, and they had a bidet on it and stuff like that. There was no power there at the toilet. So my electrician is really, really good. He was able to fish it through the wall, bring it in without any destruction of the drywall at all. So we're able to work it out, but sometimes it's not that easy. So know some of the things that may or may not need power in advance, and redline those on the plan so they know in advance. But I wish I could answer your question. I don't install those very often. So.
Okay, here's the next one.
Can we switch out the J bolts in our thickened slab areas for quick anchors? That's going to be a structural change. Okay. Are you talking quick anchors? Are you talking about Titan screws? I don't know. I would use a Titan, probably with epoxy, which may need a special inspection, but that's because you probably have a problem with the placement of the J bolts. If I'm guessing right, the J bolts are placed in the wrong spot. The wall is not lining out right. They may have put the J bolts in a doorway. I don't know. And that's why you're looking for a replacement. Quick anchors, if that's a Titan, you know what Titan is, a long screw like this with a big thread on it. And as you tighten it down, it gets tighter and tighter and tighter. Sometimes so I don't know if that's what you mean.
Talk to your engineer.
You can talk to an engineer. He can give you a letter on that.
Yeah.
If there's a change that's structural, a good inspector is going to see it and say, hey, the plans call for this. You did this. I need approval from the engineer that that's okay. And that's usually a letter, and that can cost you $75, $150, whatever, for a simple letter, or redrafting the plans. But I don't like to redraft the plans because then I have to upload multiple pages. I just get a letter and upload it to the permitting office, and we're good to go.
Oh, here's what Brady has said.
Okay. I usually go with screw anchors like the Titan HDs. Yeah, usually not a problem to switch out bolts for other types, as long as rated the same and critical edge distance is okay. Yeah. And those are typically 8 inches. Keep in mind that when you're putting those J bolts, those Titans, on the outer perimeter of the foundation, that's where your thicker slab is. All right. And it's meant to go down deeper. So if you're trying, I've seen people change their house and change their wall, and they move a wall where there's no thicker foundation, and they try to put a J bolt in. They try to put a Titan in there, and it gets down 3.5, 4 inches, and then it's open dirt. Then there's nothing really to hold it. So just be aware of that.
Oh, and always double check. It's good to get. And I think Brady also said over here, let's see. Yeah, talk with your engineers if you're not sure, and usually good idea to check with the building department inspector. Yeah. So double check. Always double check, because it's harder after the fact.
In our area, a lot of inspectors are okay with the Titan screws, unless it's a 12-inch Titan, a major hold down. But most of the time, they're okay with it. In some jurisdictions, they will want you to have a tester, a third party, to come out and test the strength of that Titan screw, and they'll mark each individual one of them, and that can be a headache and a costly mistake if you don't do it right.
Here's a good one for you, honey.
So how do you handle a client who likes to stand around and talk to the subs? What do you tell them? Well, the first thing you need to do is nip it in the butt as soon as you possibly can. Okay? Because if they're telling your subcontractor something and you don't know it, all right,
add this, do that,
it gets to be a real problem.
And then you get an invoice that's not in the budget.
Yeah. You don't mind them being friendly and learning and asking
bringing
donuts and stuff like that. But the minute, and then the best way to nip that in the butt is if the client is just a friendly person, they like to talk. You need to tell your subcontractors, everything you do comes from me. It doesn't come from the client. If the client asks for something, you have to get approval from me, so you have to talk to me. And then I can say, hey, you talked with my subcontractors. They said you said this, and I said that's going to be a change, or it could have impacts that I'm not aware of. You need to communicate that to the client. Then that's a really good time to nip it in the butt with them. I says, I tell you what, if you have any changes, you need to come with me. Mm-hmm. All right. Otherwise, it gets to be a real nightmare. I can tell you story after story after story, but the best way is to double up on it. Talk to your subs. I had a client tell an excavator something, and it really changed things, and it turned things into a headache. And I didn't know about it. And so I was planning one direction. The excavator was doing it in an entirely different direction because the client said something, and you don't want to get caught in that. So,
and also if you have a chatty client and then the subs can't get their work done, that's hard when the subs can't get their work done. Like they want to go get it done. They got to get to something else. So how do you nip that in the butt?
I've had a client who would stand on a job site like this.
Well, that's different than chatting on to the subs.
But it was very intimidating, especially when he's like very, very, very tall. And he would just stand there. and it made people feel very uncomfortable.
So what do you do?
Um, it's just the nature of some people, you know. As long as they're not talking with the subs and telling them what to do something, you just have to put up with it. So, because it's their property, unless you write it in the contract that they're not to be there during work hours of work. They can come before and after to check work, but to not be there during the work, mainly because OSHA, safety, hard hat, all kinds of stuff like that you can come up with.
That's good. That's good. All the mall pearl. Let's give some updates for the mall pearl.
Student Western Washington exterior painting will be done by tomorrow. Flooring next. This is getting real exciting. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Somebody else. Oh, Kai had a good idea for bidets. He said industry standard, as if you can afford them, is the Toto.
Toto.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks, Kai.
I've installed just 2 of those recently. So.
Okay. And then another one. Thanks for
the Farm General Crow and Discord group and live streams. You're welcome.
Great. That's all at How to Build Your Own Home. If you're not a student, come be a student. Okay. Let's see. Here we go.
Tile install labor is estimated to be $15 square foot. Is that good or bad? It would depend on where you are. It's a little higher than what I'm used to here, but it also depends upon if it's floor tile, shower tile, or backsplash tile, or tile behind a fireplace or whatever. Typically vertical tile is a little more per square foot, so I don't know where that tile is being placed. So.
Oh, here's a good one from Kai.
My painter wants to paint last after casing and doors are set. If I move paint up in the schedule, how are you address dirty walls? My main concern is getting flashing issues from touch up.
And I think he has a level 5 drywall.
Here, you know, painters want to do that, and I can tell you why, because they want to get it done in one fell swoop. Boom. In and out. Okay. But again, they dominate the site at the point you really don't want them dominating the site. I'd rather have them at the finish when they're finishing their touch-ups, not when they're going to dominate the entire site. The only time that is very, very easy for painters to control the site is right after drywall. And guess what? They overspray on the floor, not a problem. They overspray here, not a problem. You can, it's such a clean look, especially with 3-tone paint. Imagine your painter having to protect the floor, protect the cabinets, other things like that, while they're painting the walls, the ceiling, and everything. And then they control the site. And I just don't like it. I don't enjoy the process. I'd rather get them in, get the wall ceiling done, and if there's nicks or whatever during the course of construction, fine. But when they come back, they don't control a huge nightmare. I've got painters on a nice custom home right now. The walls are done, the ceilings are done, but they're just doing the baseboard. It's very clean. It's going to be a lacquer stain. And then they're going to do the doors. They take all the doors in the basement into the garage, close the garage doors, tape everything off. They take care of the doors that way. Mm-hmm. It's very clean that way. And I don't like it when it's such a mess. And let's say, for example, something needs to be done electrical wise or plumbing wise or HVAC wise. They can't get in there at all when the painters are doing that. So right after drywall, it's the cleanest approach in my mind.
We got a good comment from 2-Stroke MX. Exactly. Don't let the painters run over you because they're trying to make their money and go to the next job.
Get your painter used to the idea that they're going to come twice. I'm sorry. Walls, ceilings, 2-3-tone paint, and then they're going to go back and do all the base and case. You just get them used to that, and it's going to be much better off. So.
Okay, here we go. This one is piggybacking from the last question. How do you deal with client wants to change subs mid-build? Oh.
Very dangerous. In your contract, you have to have a caveat that if a change order occurs, it has to be signed and approved. And if there's a budget change that has to be approved is all. I have not used a change order in my entire life, but it's in my contract. All right.
Yeah, he's too nice.
So
He does a lot of changes, but he doesn't charge for it.
you know, I do a lot of custom homes and high-end luxury homes, and so it just goes with the territory, and so that's why I charge a little more on my construction fee, because I know that's coming.
Well, I wouldn't say you're average to low on your fee,
Yeah,
because
I know,
some people
I'm
are
not-
out there paying 20 and 30%.
yeah, I know
for a
some people are
GC,
doing. I know
and
some
you're not
people
even
are.
there. You're way low.
I know builders that are charging 20%, and then they still charge change orders.
Hmm.
So that's not me. It's not my style.
Okay, here we go again. And then how do you handle subs who skip days to do other work or not starting on time? That's a big one.
That's a real
Mhm.
pill. If
Mhm.
you're an easygoing person, and they can tend to abuse that, because if they've got another client that's saying, I need you to be here, they'll come and start yours, throw up
Mhm.
scaffolding, make it look like they're working, but then they won't show for a day or two. That can be a real problem. So I tell my subs, I need you to, on the estimate, there is subcontractor agreement. Okay. It's not a really ridiculous contract. But you can either use that, download it in the self-managed course, or you ask them, I'll tell you what, tell me how many days from start to finish it will take you to finish this job. I don't know, you need to cut yourself short, make sure you have some days for weather, whatever. But let me know so I can hold you to that.
Mhm.
But it's very hard to schedule. I can't work around things like this if I'm not communicated, if I don't know that you're going to finish these things in a certain amount of time. But keep in mind that a lot of subcontractors that are new in the industry, they will abuse that and they will leave and go to another job because they're being pushed and prodded by whoever's got the squeaky wheel.
Mhm.
And if you've got subcontractors that are built like that, you got a problem. So don't get caught up into that. Tell them I need you to start and finish, and not to leave and go to another job.
And maybe that's one of your questions you ask them when you interview your subs. You get the estimate, and then you ask them, how often are you on time? How far are you out? Do you have anything in your contract that if you do start late and you haven't communicated, it's $100 a day? I don't know. Have you ever done that? $100 a day of late, not staying in your time? I don't know. You can get pretty strict if you wanted to.
Production builders are really, really meticulous with that.
Yep.
They make, if a contractor wants a lot of work, they're going to make them sign a few things and get a couple things clear before they can start. So.
Oh, okay. So 2-stroke MX. Okay, I'm trying to put it because I haven't seen your name up. So I thought you were new, but
Okay.
I appreciate it that
Great,
you guys are
thank you.
you're here, that you made it. You made it today. Okay, any other questions? Let's see. 2-stroke also talked about, yep, you can get them to do everything, that they can be sprayed in a spray booth with the plastic sheeting.
Visqueen, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's really, for example, when painters, I had to tell a painter, I like him a lot. He comes when I call, and same thing with my drywall guy. And I said to my drywall guy, I want you to cover the floors with plastic from now on. If it costs a few $100 extra, fine. I want them covered, because drywall is my least favorite subcontractor. Painting is the next one. They're a mess and they dominate the site, and I can't get anything else done. And so I tell them from now on, especially garages, there's no reason why they should splatter mud everywhere. And so having them put some drywall down or some plastic, I just power washed the garage. Took me, the better part of 5-6 hours to power wash it. Had they put plastic down, it would have been just simple hose off of the hose. So, and it's worth it. Plus, if they protect it and you're slab on grade, all that fine silica gets in there, and it's really hard for the tile to bond to it. So the more you can protect that, the better off you can. And forcing them to keep a clean site. Oh my gosh. So, and painters and drywallers are known for being that seem some of the messiest subcontractors, especially drywallers. They leave cigarettes and stuff everywhere, and I have to just fight it. So.
Oh, we have lots of celebrations.
We have all the approvals from the county, and I've paid the invoice. Should have our permit in the next few days. Cool. That's awesome.
I want to find like fireworks to put on the back when we have some cool announcements.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You guys are doing so great and coming along.
Yeah.
And Kai, you I can't wait for your build. I know you did some really neat things.
The trick with owner building is being the manager from day one. Okay. And not letting up on anything and just coming on a job site. My daughter's really, really good at it. She befriends subcontractors. She's nice to subcontractors. I know another woman who's a general contractor. She belittles subcontractors and berates them because she thinks she needs to do that because she's a woman in typically a male environment. That's not, and then she's always going through subcontractors. Nobody wants to work through her. And so I side on the side of being friendly, approachable, accessible, communicable. I side with that. But the key is that you have to set the standard for quality. This is what I want. I appreciate it. You're awesome. This is what I want. You have to keep that standard there, rather than say this is what I want and you're not giving it to me. You automatically make someone feel bad. So I watched my daughter go on job sites, and she's very, very, very good with people, and she's transitioned that to her husband. I see him doing the same thing as well. But when it's a bad workmanship, he lets them know, and he says he likes her work up until this point. It's not good. We need to fix that. Yeah. So there's no reason in holding him to that. Okay,
that's great. Another good word of advice.
Okay, you got to cover everything. Preparation is 89% of the job. It is.
Yes.
It's, prep work. I've seen scaffolding guys not try to level the ground, and it's just rickety, and it's unsafe for everybody. They don't prep everything properly. So.
Oh, this is a really good question.
What do you do if your subfloor starts to squeak over the course of construction, and what can I before putting down the glue down? You can go ahead and put some lag screws in there. Most of the subfloors that are installed with nails. Okay, we've got one single squeak in our floor over here when you come around the corner, and it's probably an area, a gap like that where there was no glue and probably no nail. And so I always tell my framers, don't skimp on the glue, and please make sure there's a solid bead all the way across that stud, that TGI or that floor joist. Make sure you cover that as much as you possibly can. And then before the flooring goes on, you walk on it and you screw it down. I was building homes up in a high-end community years ago, and there were squeaks everywhere, and they didn't put any glue down. So I had to go up in knee pads and put screws down every 6 inches just to suck that thing down, because it was too late to put the glue down and it wasn't easy. And in a couple of spots, I had to put a 2x4 on the underside of it and nail it to the truss and glue it to the bottom of the floor and then screw it from the top just to stop the squeak. Luckily, I had open framing, I had access, and it was not that headache to do. But again, it's your framers. And the other thing is, the reason why I use engineered floor joists that are wood is because I have 3.5 inches of play. So I have a lot of coverage for that floor. The worst thing to do is have 1.5 inches, and your subfloor doesn't have quite enough to sit on, and that's a known area for squeaking. So keep that in mind. It's just watching it, and as they're framing it, they put the glue on it, just walk on it, make sure it's not squeaking, and get those nails tighter up. So let's see here.
Yeah, so I'm just going to ask another question. I asked it at the beginning, but it might have been too soon. If you're an owner builder, tell me how much you've already saved.
Yeah.
By being an owner builder. besides maybe the 20% of the general contractor fee? We're really curious.
Yeah, this is Brady made a good comment. He said here, yeah, I'll do some screws in my subfloor so I don't get those issues. The screw in each corner and one in the center typically, and really good subfloor adhesive application. Yeah, just a couple of screws that are 2.5 inches long would be just awesome. So,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, that's,
All right.
I think we're done for the day.
Group
We're
today.
good for the day.
Oh, hey, Kai. Okay, we're getting some numbers in.
Yeah.
Kai has saved 300K.
300,000. Wow.
All right, good job, Kai.
That's cool. That's exciting. Okay, everybody, please like, subscribe, do all that wonderful stuff. And again, we'll be here next week. We're going to leave early so we can get some dinner from 5 to 6 p.m. Mountain Time. We're here every day. I've got to get on a skid steer. I've got to bury a septic. I'm going to do a video on that tomorrow and things to avoid when it comes to septics. And if you buy an existing property with an old septic, like I didn't buy it, but I took it over for a client, I'm going to show you some nightmares and what people did 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, thinking it was okay, and it wasn't okay. So I'm going to do a nice video on that. So you guys take care, and we will be back here next Thursday from 5 to 6 p.m. You guys have a good weekend.